Well, it's Figment's birthday. Happy 40th to Figment. We're going to be talking about EPCOT Flower and Garden. We're going to be talking about California food and wine and so much more. Thank you for joining us tonight on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for March 5th, 2023. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I know we haven't been on in a minute, so thank you to everybody who reached out, said, where are you guys? Well, we're right here. Thanks for being with us tonight on ParksCenter. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV. Please hit like on this video as it helps people to find us, and we appreciate you being here, as well as this great cast of people that we've assembled for you today. Ironic, it's the same cast we had for you last time. It's the Superstar Dream Team, starting with my really good friend, Patrick Hackett. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, I'm great. It's the greatest character Disney's ever created. It's birthday, you know? He's that guy right there.
Yeah, it is. And yeah. Kamila, how are you?
So good. Hi, everyone. Great to be here. Happy birthday to our favorite lovely dinosaur.
You just love it because it's not a boat ride.
Oh, or
that's
is
fine.
He a dragon? Wait.
He's a dragon.
He's a dragon.
Okay, just kidding. Just kidding. Favorite dragon. That's what I meant.
And Miss Stephanie, how are you tonight? Figment.
Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Excited to talk about all the things.
All the things, indeed. We haven't been on for a couple weeks. A couple people were like, is this show gone? Well, we had the Oscars. I mean, not the Oscars. We had the Grammys, I believe. No, it was the Super Bowl. That's what we did.
Yeah,
it was the Super Bowl, and we were like, let's not do a show on the Super Bowl. And then we had President's Day weekend, and everybody was off somewhere. I know Stephanie, I think, was at Disney World, and so was I. And then also, then last week something came up at the last minute. So again, appreciate you guys tuning in with us. We'll be full steam ahead from here on out, bringing you great shows every Sunday night. And again, some park updates. And again, like we talked about just now, it's Figment's birthday, and a lot of people are going, well, wait a minute, it's the 40th anniversary of EPCOT on October 1st. Why are we celebrating today? It's because the pavilion didn't actually open. The Journey into Imagination ride attraction did not actually open until March 5th, 1983, after some time. But it was well worth it. It was an amazing attraction that opened up. I had the honor and privilege of having to work that attraction at one point. I went on it as a little kid. I got to work the original before it was gone away forever, and it was a blessing. And I miss that attraction, and every time I look and see, like, you know, what we have now, I just wish that my kids could have seen what it was back then. Patrick, you saw the original, didn't you?
I did. It is literally one of my earliest memories. Somewhere between 85 and 86, I was 4 to 5 years old, and I went on that attraction. That's actually the original. We just washed him up. That is from the original attraction from the gift shop back there, and it literally is something that was burned into my memory. The Rainbow Bridge, Dreamfinder. It was such a perfect attraction, and it's literally just sitting there behind doors. It feels like it's not that hard to bring it back to its original glory, but you know, money.
They did tear up a lot of it. I mean, when you go into that load station where it is, it's part of that circle is where that carousel used to be with the Dreamfinder. Just the mechanics of that attraction were so complicated and intricate. I can't believe it was something that they did in 1982, 1983 compared to what we're seeing today. I mean, we're kind of amazed when it's like, oh, we can ride Cosmic Rewind, and they'll point us as we're moving through where things are supposed to go. But, you know, in that one, it was just a marvel. And I'm assuming, Kamila, that you never rode the original.
No, I didn't. But I will say I loved reading the long read of kind of the history of this attraction, and just there's so much that I didn't know, like the fact that it was a partnership with Kodak in the beginning, give the fans what they've been asking for, and really make this attraction something special, especially as they don't have, you know, a lot on the docket right now of what's coming next. I think this is a great opportunity to just kind of revisit this ride and really that entire area that holds the attraction.
Yeah, and apologies for dropping that in front of you. I was trying to figure out how to pull this up. We have these shirts that we did. They did a lot of Figment merchandise when they launched the 40th anniversary. There was a lot of stuff with Figment tied in, and yet there wasn't anything today really for his birthday. But we put together this shirt. It is 40 years of Sparks. It is a Figment and Dreamfinder and Imagination Pavilion thing that we looked up and said, hey, we need to do something nice for Figment's birthday, and we did for Carousel Products. So if you want to check it out, it's at carouselproducts.com. We only ordered a certain amount. It's limited edition. When they're gone, they're gone. And we, I know Tom talked about it today on his live stream that he did, and we sold a lot of them already. A lot of fans out there of the little purple dragon. So we're really excited to be able to offer that, and I'm excited to wear it and rep it tonight. Stephanie, did you ever ride the original one?
I did, actually. I have vague memories of the load area, and where you can kind of go off to the side to Captain EO too, like they're down the hallway. But now I know I have video of it from my childhood, kind of like Patrick was saying, in the late 80s, and I definitely, remember some of the scenes, especially with the Dreamfinder, and the fact that they took that out of mouse gear, the whole machine there. I don't know where it got put, if it got, taken away and sold on eBay, but I wish that they would reincorporate it somewhere. I think that that's a piece of history, park history, and it doesn't need to just be sitting, like you said, behind a wall somewhere. But as a mom with little kids who actually like this ride as it is, it's a must-do for us every time we go to Epcot. And yes, I agree with Camila's point. I think that it's something that easy that they could kind of reincorporate and keep kind of the sensory edutainment like they're doing right now. It's the five senses, and incorporate more of the original ride in with that as well. Just kind of please the masses there. So I like it the way it is now. I liked it how it was then. I don't know if I would say it's my favorite the version it is now, but I think it's something that they could definitely improve upon in the future.
Nice. Okay. So when it originally opened up, I can tell you, unfortunately, not just because I read things, but because I was there. Not there that day. That's not what I meant. But when it originally opened up, there was the Magic Eye Theater, which was adjacent to the attraction, had what?
Magic Journeys was something.
Yeah, it was Magic Journeys, but they had a pre-show that was called Making Memories. Does anybody remember that song? Making Memories, Making Memories. So anyway, it was all tied in with Kodak, and Kodak was the presenter of it. By the time I got around to it, Captain EO was the show in the Magic Eye Theater, and I always had to say, ladies and gentlemen, please put on your 3D glasses as Eastman Kodak proudly presents Captain EO. You're welcome. You're welcome. That's for free. And so but we had a rotation where we had these purple outfits that we would wear, and we would work in either the in the Figment attraction, or we would work in the ImageWorks in the Magic Eye Theater. And so you'd have one of those two rotations. And so the Figment attraction had, and I told this to some of the people on the 50th, when we did the 50th anniversary at Disney World, I told some people this, that when they did the original attraction, one of our positions, one of our roles that we would go into would be the ride through at the very end. And that was like, you would get bumped into that position and you would ride through and make sure everything in the attraction was working at night. My favorite thing to do. I only got picked for it a few times, but it was my favorite thing to do, was to ride through there at night. So I miss that attraction. We love Figment. We hope that they're going to do them justice down the road. Obviously, they've done them a little dirty in the past, but Josh seems to be a fan. So hopefully we're going to be able to have some good times in the not too distant future with Figment. So thank you guys for letting us celebrate a little bit with that. I want to say though, we have a super chat from Rosita. Just want to say hi, Robin panel, and just show my love to ParksCenter and glad you're back. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Rosita. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate you, and thanks for being here. So let's get into the rest of this. The Flower and Garden Festival started this week, and the Food and Wine Festival, a lot of people, they're huge fans of food and wine. I've said on this show a million times that I think Festival of the Arts is my favorite, but before there was a Festival of the Arts, Flower and Garden is what we used to do, and part of that was because it was during spring break when we could take the kids out, and go. Festival of the Arts is at a weird time now where it's in January, February, not a lot of schools are out during that time. So we would go during Flower and Garden, and I thought that by far was my favorite at back in the day. Now all of them have the things that they bring to the table, but Stephanie, I know you were just there for Festival of the Arts. Flower and Garden, where does that rank on your list?
It's right up there. I really like all the festivals, honestly. I really like with Flower and Garden, though, the topiaries. They were already put out, by the end of the week when we were heading out, and because we left this past Monday. And I mean, the ones that were larger than life, the TikTok Croc and Captain Hook and Peter Pan, those were fantastic. The new ones, Encanto, those look great too. And even Donald and Daisy over there by Guardians. I don't know why they were over there, but they look great too. So I love all the different topiaries. I love that you can have so many different pictures with them. And of course, the flower beds, that they do all the mosaic with the flowers as well. Everything looks so fresh and beautiful. And one of my favorite things when we're actually doing the Flower and Garden is the butterfly house. Of course, that wasn't up yet when we were heading out because the Flower and Garden hadn't started. But if you can get a chance to go and walk through there, it's just beautiful and serene, and the butterflies come and light on you. It's really lovely, and you learn about their cycle, their life cycle, and the different plants that you can put into your garden that would attract butterflies. And it's a nice festival. It's something for everybody.
There's a lot of food at this festival too, and if you've watched, we have a 2-hour review, I might say, is what Tom and Alyssa dropped on our channel. And if you want to watch that, it's 2 hours of watching them eat food and tell you what they think about it. Some people love that. Honestly, I would prefer to go to the website and read about it, especially if I'm in the park and I'm like, is the Italian booth really good? Let me look and see what WDW&T says. Let me give you a shortcut here.
No.
Never.
They never say yes. Patrick, you've looked at the food. What do you think, buddy?
I think one of the things that we're missing out in Flower and Garden is that the booth that really has been pulling its weight lately, two booths, and they're not festival booths. The funnel cake stand and refreshment port have been churning out killer food for every single festival. I forgot which festival I was at last. They all start to run into each other. But I got the specialty funnel cake from that after reading one of our reviews, and it is fantastic. I love all the new Dole Whips that come by. So I think sometimes, I am not Jason Dividal, I just saw that. I think sometimes that the booths that are there year-round, I mean, really everything's there year-round, but the concrete ones that aren't going anywhere, they really have started to bring it. And I think the booths that are, the specialty booths have fallen off a little bit. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of effort.
Let's hold off a little bit of that until we get to California and talk about that. Jason, can I call you Jason? I'm just kidding.
I don't care.
So honestly, we've had worse. Anyway, I would say though that that the food is I don't think it's the star here, but I think that the topiaries kind of are. It's nice that there are food booths and that there are things to see. Honestly, the things that I want to eat when I go to most of these is the stuff that they advertise at the Italy booth, but yet again, I know that our reviewers just pound that one. We had an article on the website that was, Italy booth tries to, drop its bad reputation, and I'm thinking we're the ones that gave it a bad reputation, I feel like. Because when you look at it, you're like, oh, those are the things I'd like to see. I'd like to walk up and get, whatever this is, and it's I don't know. But in general, I think that the food at Festival of the Arts is always beautiful because it's it's art, it's pretty, it's Instagram worthy. They do the deconstructed and all that fun stuff. This one's supposed to be the whole that's fresh and good and from the land and all those things that you would normally have.
Healthier.
I usually healthier. I would say I usually like the flowers. That's the when they drop a flower in your drink. I'm like, oh, look at that, it's Flower and Garden. When you see all this stuff, Kamila, I mean, is this a big one for you?
Yeah, I love Flower and Garden, and actually, this is the this is the festival that I usually end up going to the most for whatever reason. I've been to all of the festivals except for of the arts, but this one actually stands out to me. I just think the ambiance of Flower and Garden is so nice. Like usually, especially if you get there before it's like too deep in the summer, the weather is great. You're walking around. There's all these beautiful colors, topiaries, flowers. It smells so fresh. And you can grab a drink, you can grab, a little something to eat. In my experience, I actually think the Flower and Garden food options are some of the best and some of the strongest. I agree. I think it tends to be a little bit of lighter fare, but I kind of like that. And I don't know, but yeah, I really love this one. I just think there's so much that it offers. I don't know, I guess especially to me.
Okay. Let me move a little bit. So we talked about food. The merchandise this year was interesting to me because they have three basic groupings of merchandise. You've got the Snow White stuff, odd pick. I feel like you got the Figment
really.
stuff, what they always do, and you've got the Orange Bird stuff that they always do. But what I thought was neat was there's a pass holder line that kind of features all three. Like that to me was kind of brilliant that they would do that. Like, what are we going to do for the pass holder? A version of one of the others? No, let's just like celebrate the three lines, and it's very specific. These different lines that they have, and I love what they've done with the pass holder merch. I don't know, Patrick, is there anything you looked at you thought was standoutish?
I like the switch from Corksicle, from away from Tervis into Corksicle. I think Corksicle is a much better product. I really dug the Raglan shirt. I didn't like the design so much, but the Raglan was cool. I thought it was nice. On the whole, it kind of stinks because I'm not a pass holder anymore, and I don't know when I'll ever be one again. So that makes me sad when I see it.
Oh, that's really all I wanted to do was rub it in your face.
Oh, is that
if I
it?
wanted
Yeah,
to,
cool. Great,
I
man.
could
You
go
wanna
down
cook
there
my
right
dog while
now
you're here?
and buy all of it. And so you can't, and that's why I wanted to. No, I'm just kidding.
So
I
wrong.
literally did not remember that you won a ParksCenter. My condolences.
You know,
No,
you
go
know
ahead,
what's funny
Mona.
though is that Orange Bird sipper is so cute, and literally the last thing
Yes.
I need is another Orange Bird sipper that I don't use, but it is so cute. I probably will get it,
So I
but
have a
at
little
this
bit.
point, then I will have three.
I have a little bit of a story about that. Yeah, I'm with you. Like they please stop making the different Orange Bird sippers because I will have to buy them
No,
if they're different.
never.
Like I
Continue.
know they have to. Like I make the same one over and over again, please, because that's what they used to do back in the day. There was one that looked like the Orange Bird's head, and it had a straw in the head, and that was it. And it was just this
It was
like it was
small,
this
too.
it was literally just an Orange Bird sipper. And I just had this conversation with my brother this weekend where I said, "Remember when Dad wouldn't buy us those?" And he's like, he's like, "I don't know who Orange Bird is." I was like, "First of all, how are we related? Secondly, when you go in and we talk about Orange Bird, like I think my hang up with Orange Bird comes with the fact that Orange Bird sippers, I would go and see them and would want them. And then when I would get there and I'd say, hey, I want, kind of, I thought I was sly, like, hey, Dad, I want that orange slush drink. And he's like, okay. And it's like, we would get that without the sipper. No, you're missing the point. I used to tell my mom that I loved Burger King because they had flame broiled hamburgers, but really they had better toys. And honestly, again, so I mean this is a lifelong problem, folks. This isn't new. But I would say though with the Orange Bird sipper thing, like that's probably where my sipper like mania. Honestly, if I had to sit down with somebody to like a therapist, they would probably track it back to that moment.
Because
There you
if
go.
you think about it, like the tiki mugs, at least it makes sense. Like you could have a bar at home, you could make a drink and you could put it in it, and like that would make sense. The Orange Bird sipper, like how crazy would I look if I like sat down, turned on The Last of Us. I'm like finally trying to watch that now. And then I pull out my Orange Bird sipper and put some vitamin water in it. Like how crazy would I look? But like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'll totally use it. But I don't. But then I've just got like literally, I do plan to get this one, like against my own judgment. I do plan to get this one. But
Well,
it's just
yeah, I
such a
mean,
problem.
you would look like a crazy person if you were the kind of person that would just get into the whole sipper thing. I don't know,
Oh
honestly,
no.
what kind of a whack job would go in for that kind of stuff. And Really, it's problematic. It certainly is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. Anyway, let's move on to California food and wine. And I know I can almost say for sure that Kamila and I are probably the only ones who've been to California food and wine, right? Stephanie, have you been to it?
No, unfortunately. It looks amazing.
Well, so here's the thing. You were talking about this earlier, Patrick, about like it's not really like, exotic necessarily. I feel like the formula, and Kamila, I'm gonna throw this to you next. I feel like the formula is they sit around a taste kitchen somewhere in California and they go, what things don't go together? Um, Churros and tiramisu? Yes, that's what we need. We need that.
But it
because
looks amazing, and the review was great.
but Kamila, like, back me up on this. It's pretty wacky, the kind of stuff they come up with.
Okay, so I actually do agree with this, and having spent a bit of time at both coast food festivals, I actually think what they do in Disney World for most people's palates is much, much better. I think in California, they definitely take advantage of local flavors. It's not uncommon to see kimchi or I feel like I'm not going to say this correctly, but like the Taijin, like spices on drinks, and just they definitely pull from like local ethnic flavors that they have much more readily available, and that I also think that a local population would expect to see. But I don't know that I think that they do it particularly well. And even I was one of the things that stood out to me was one of the churros that's at Willie's Churros Cart, which is usually such fun, but also good and pleasing combinations. But I think they had a pineapple, something churro. And I just remember thinking, why? Like, I don't want that. And I'm not convinced anybody else wants that. And so, the point of doing this is to make money. Why would you think, people are going to buy that? Like, I just don't get it. And I felt like looking at the menu, I really was a little bit underwhelmed at what I saw overall for the California Food and Wine Food Festival. And I just, not to like jump ahead to the merch, but I almost felt like this was a bad sign, was if you look at the tumbler, and tumblers are another thing that I collect, but I actually use, so I feel less bad about how many of these that I buy. But the tumbler, it's kind of the same art style as what we saw for the Disney 100 celebration. And it's like Mickey holding some food, and the food looks good. But then the rest of this tumbler is just white. And I think there's like another random picture of Carthay Circle. And it's like, but we already got that on the last tumbler. And so I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit too hard of a critic, but I needed more.
Well, here's a picture of that churro you were talking about.
It looks
the
amazing.
Pineapple coconut
good.
churro. Well, and I'm not saying it's not, but like when I went last year and did the reviews with everybody, I think I mentioned this before, there was the frozen guacamole on a stick, which I was like, well, it looks interesting. I should probably try it. I tried it, didn't make it through much of it. And then because you want something sweet when you see like a popsicle, you don't necessarily want a savory popsicle. But again, that's where they try new things, and it's very unique and very different. But the same thing happened with the peanut butter and jelly mac and cheese, because when I ate that, I thought to myself, well, surely it's just the mac. It's not actually cheese, because you wouldn't put cheese on something you're going to have also jelly and peanut butter on. No, they did. And they threw in Pop Rocks for good measure. But I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. So, yeah, we'll go a little bit extra innings on this one. But, Patrick, when you look at this from afar, I mean, is this one that you're like, yeah, I definitely want to get out there and try this one out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they do food festivals better than we do. I did notice something, though. And you guys are saying it's, crazy food. All I'm thinking is I get it. It's a California Food and Wine Festival, but it's basically what they want tourists to believe California cuisine is like, which is, really multi-ethnic, multicultural. And then I actually think some of it's dumbed down a bit. They do take some risks here and there, but I think that is for the local crowd. A lot of really good-looking alcoholic beverages, which I always like. I do want to quickly jump back to EPCOT for a quick second. I need to come down there for one of these opening days of a festival so we can have actual beer reviews and not just grabbing information off of websites. Like, where's our hardy team members down there doing, drinking beers. Tom, just get me down there one time. I'll do all the beers, all of them.
All the
You and
beers.
Leave Shayna at
Fantastic.
home because she gets mad when I do that.
I gotcha. And then Stephanie, talk to me. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it looks right for foodies, honestly. Somebody who has a more elevated palate that might want to be more adventurous. So yeah, the one from last year didn't sound very good to me, the peanut butter and jelly mac and cheese. But some of these this year, I would want to go out there and try. If I'm going to buy a ticket and fly all the way to California, I think I'm going to go for Christmas or the Oogie Boogie Bash or something like that,
Smart.
instead of this one. But yeah, it
Smart.
sounds like a fun time to go if you're there. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
Rob,
go ahead.
no, I just was gonna say, can we show this Tumblr? Because I'm still thinking about it. And do you know what I'm talking about? Have any of you guys seen this? Anybody in chat?
Yeah,
It's just
it's
like
so
a
bland.
white Tumblr.
Yeah, no.
And it's like
And it
Mickey
looks
holding
like-
some food.
And it looks like
And it's
recycled
what?
from an Epcot Food and Wine.
Yes. Yes.
The
It's
merch
like,
there
where's the
was
rest?
terrible.
Where's the
Terrible
rest?
merch.
Okay,
but I don't think
are you talking
California
about the
has
Corpsicle?
that. Yeah,
I think
Corpsicle
it's-
Tumblr.
Is
Well,
it
no, I'm not
Corpsicle or
sure
is
that
it-
that's what she's talking about, but this is the one I'm looking at. You're not talking about this.
No, it's like Mickey holding a plate of food. I think it might still be Tervis though.
Oh, you're
Oh.
talking about this.
Yes,
The
yes.
dude
What is
with the
that?
food.
So
The
boring.
What
dude
is
with the food.
that?
Yeah, I really
it's
like it when
Corpsicle.
they have like park specific and it's not just, across all the Disney parks, kind of bland, generic. But that dude with the food, I don't know where they came up with that line.
Well, it's only
Who's the marketing
$45.
genius?
It's only $45. I will tell you this though. I do feel like that's the thing where I do think the food's more exotic. I think it's more interesting, but I don't think the merch is great, and they usually don't have a ton of it.
Yeah.
As we talked about with Epcot Food and Wine or Epcot Flower and Garden, they've got 3 different lines plus a pass holder line. We're not looking at that here. We're looking at basically, what you see is what you get here with that, and that's just not their thing, and that's fine. I love that they do it. I think that's kind of cool. But in the same vein, like, is this super special? I mean,
Yeah, no.
Are those
Like-
grapes?
Are they hitting
mean,
Mickeys at least?
Can
Well,
you
there's
see
one here.
Tom
There's-
and Jason wearing that? Because I can.
Well, yeah, that's true.
yeah, but again, it's all right. It's fine. Let's talk about limited time offerings. And when I say limited time offerings, these are some things that, like we talked about with California, you go out and you do the Food and Wine Festival while you're out there, or you do Lunar New Year, or you do, they did some things for Black History Month. They're doing something. They did some stuff for. They're doing some stuff for the Oscars. That's the part that I'm like, that's interesting to me, and I get, and that's at Disney World, I believe, not Disneyland. Disneyland, they're like, oh, the Oscars, are those happening? We're Hollywood. We do this all the time. We don't really care. But I mean, the limited time offerings are a thing that I think I appreciate the effort that they go to on that. Here's the limited time offerings for Women's History Month. So for Women's History Month, just Kamila, Stephanie, you tell me, does this represent women in the way? I mean, is this what we're looking for when we're talking about representing women? I don't know. I'm asking.
Sure.
I mean, did you look at all this stuff, Stephanie?
Yes. Okay. So some of the savory dishes look good to me. Like the gumbos and stews and that kind of thing. Sure, that makes sense. The generic cupcake with a little picture of Moana on top. I mean, it's a Disney cupcake. Like, what's so impressive about that? I like when I'm gonna mispronounce the name, but Armorettes, is that how the down in
Patisserie?
Disney Springs? Yes.
Yeah, Emirates.
And they do,
Mhm.
yeah, Emirates. They do the little petite cakes that are styled Disney bounding, if you will, to the different princesses or what have you. I think that is really cute. I think that's a cute idea for World Princess Day or Women's History, something like that. And bringing in more cultural aspects to it, I think is a better idea than just saying, here's a generic cupcake,
Yeah. No, I agree. I just think that I wondered, like, it's like, hey, here's Women's History Month. What is the food I think of when I think of Women's History Month? No idea.
Well,
See, and I
it was
feel like,
designed by women chefs.
That's
That's
true.
what a lot of
That
it
is true.
was.
but but to your point, Patrick, and I agree with Stephanie. Like, I feel like actually what I would be much more interested to see is like some of the history of like women who have
Yeah.
worked with Disney, like especially in the early days, some of the female like Imagineers, and maybe, something that ties to them. To me, that would be much more interesting because I don't know how relatable
Right.
for most of us like a princess is. Although, I mean, look, I love me some Moana, some Elsa, all of them, don't get me wrong. And Minnie, Daisy, love them all, but like I would love them to just like honor just some of the incredible like female Imagineers, just some of the women of Disney history. Like, I think that would be much more interesting, and then find a way to tie food into it, because to be honest, the people who are going to really go out of their way for these types of limited offerings, I think, are going to be more the fans. I don't think the average or casual visitor
Yes.
is looking for these, or they're getting the Moana cupcake not because it's, limited edition, but just, they just are grabbing it because
Moana.
it looks good. Yeah.
Well, well, I mean, when I think of Women's History Month, I always think of this rosemary thyme pork loin, um,
Goodness.
because really what it says to me is history. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't.
Herstory. You kind of
Herstory, herstory.
hand waved over the Oscar stuff. I mean, Disneyland has the special Oscar with the Seven Dwarves Oscars.
Yeah.
The food is again the normal stuff, but I think it's amazing that the Disney company is older than the Oscars. I don't think I've ever put that together because it's the 95th Oscars and the 100th anniversary of the Disney company. But
Yeah.
man, I would love to see the special Oscar with the seven little Oscars.
And
Pretty awesome.
I don't mean to, and again, I don't mean to make fun of any of this because this is what I love about Disney is that whether it's Disneyland or Disney
Yeah.
World is that there's always something happening. And my wife is like, there's always something happening. You can't go every time. And I'm like, watch me. But when you have like Lunar New Year and you have
Yes.
the Oscar stuff and you have Super Bowl stuff or, the Super Bowl winners inside the parks or, I want to be there for all of that. I am so jealous of our friends who live right next door and can go all the time. And anytime that there's a new offering taken in. So I do love that Disney continues to do that. There's obviously a dollar in it for them. But when you go and you look at some of this stuff, like the blueberry, like this chocolate brownie milkshake, which is basically like they took a milkshake and put a tie on it for the Oscars.
Yeah, but that's cute. That's so
It's
cute.
cute. It's
It is
completely
cute.
silly, and yet I would search it out and buy it and put it on Instagram or Twitter, and it would just be a thing.
And
The
tell everyone
stuff
you
at
got it.
Yeah.
the stuff
Exactly.
at Port Orleans is great too. I've actually been there for both Christmas and Halloween, and the stuff they do at Port Orleans for holidays is amazing. Port Orleans and Fort Wilderness always have these little things going on that aren't always Disney rent. Like it's run by fans and by DVC members mostly. They're so awesome. It's such a good time to go and see. Just the stuff that people will do. They decorate their golf carts like this. It's so much fun. This is where you get separated Disney from any other resort because you don't get this. You're not getting something like this if you go stay. We were talking earlier at the Waldorf Astoria. Sure, you're going to get probably a better price and some luxury, but where are the golf carts that are decorated, Waldorf? Where are they? I'm trying to get a free room at the Waldorf Astoria just
Yeah.
in case they watch.
I think you might be going about it the
Name
wrong
drop.
way, dude.
The wrong
think you
way?
may be- yeah, I think that's not. You don't trash
I
them
was
to get the free
negging them.
hotel.
I heard
Yeah.
from this guy Mystery that works
No.
really well.
No, nope,
No?
nope, nope, nope.
Why
But
would TV lie to me?
honestly, I felt like I threw that in for Stephanie because of the whole Mardi Gras tie-in. Wanting to talk about that. Did you want to say anything else about that, Stephanie?
I had a friend this past week that, like I said, it was 2 weeks ago, but when we stayed there, she stayed at Port Orleans and made sure to watch the parade and had a great time. She had no idea, and I told her it was going to happen, and so she went down and watched it, and it blew her away. She's from Louisiana, we do this all the time, but she thought it was phenomenal. And like Patrick's saying, because it's all done by the cast or the fans and everything, so it's not Disney sanctioned really, but it's done on property, so it's neat.
Yep. Patrick doesn't come on unless we're going to talk about Munchlings. He has it in his contract, to talk about that. So there are some new Munchling offerings. There's this new Daisy Duck Munchling that's coming to Shop Disney, but then there's also this.
Look at the precious.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So just comments from our Munchling influencer.
Munchling influencer. Yeah, that's amazing. I still don't have my Figment Fig Newton, which is very upsetting. I'm eventually going to have to buy the Christmas Stitch on eBay, but I need that orange bird. Can you imagine how orangey it's going to smell? My Mickey still smells a lot like peppermint. It's great.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're the best. They're so much better than, look at this terrible wishable. Get it out of here. Munchlings are here to stay.
I got to tell you, I am so happy for you and your wallet because mine needs a rest. So please buy all of them. That's all I'm saying. Get at it, my friend. I mean, I do know, again, they're very cute, the presentation when they put them on like fruit carts and things like that inside the stores, that they do the tie-ins with the food. Just not my thing. But I'm glad it's your thing. So thank you for being here to be our Munchling correspondent, sir. I appreciate it. Let's talk about Runaway Railway out there in California. It's so funny to me, the different vibe. And I think we've talked about that before, that the one in California is like, oh my gosh, thank goodness this is here. This is great. We like this, as opposed to you tore out my movie ride and you put in this piece of garbage. What are you doing? Like, it's completely different out there. And one of the things that Tom and I were out there for the grand opening of it, and one of the things we talked about was this is why you want to be there when these attractions and these lands first show up, is because they put them together in this perfect bubble and they put them out there and they say, here world, here it is. And then they don't remember that things happen, like children or like, other things that could happen to anything, just crowds, lines, other things that could mess things up. So when they put this together, the biggest deal to me was the queue. The queue area for this one is not only amazing, but it's long. And so it makes it so that they've already taken this off of virtual queue, which is amazing that they could do that this early. I mean, Cosmic Rewind is almost a year now into a virtual queue because that line is very like inside the building is very short. But this queue that you go through there, it's very long. They get a lot of people through this attraction, and they took down virtual queue almost instantly. But the people in the queue, and it's an amazing queue, people keep grabbing at stuff and pulling at stuff and pulling things off. And every week we've got another story, and a lot of people are probably like, WDW&T, why are you writing about the fact that this knob fell off? Like, why is there a whole story about that? And I think the story is, it's just, we can't have nice things. Kamila, agree, disagree?
Yeah, I mean, this is related to this, so bear with me, everyone. But I just found out that once upon a time, when you would get gas, you could fill up your car with gas and then pay for it after you were done filling up. Whereas like now, of course, you have to pay for it first, and they have to get that before you can start to pump. And to me, it just kind of speaks to the overall change and kind of how we react to our environment culturally, because it just feels like people can't be trusted with some of this stuff. And it really, it kind of breaks my heart every time I see these kind of stories. This one is a little unique because I'm like, honestly, it's a 4-year-old, they're in line, some of this I feel like there's a design element where it'd be great if they could figure out how to make sure, we can have these really incredible queues, but, they're far enough away that people can't just grab and touch and break and reach, because what we now know is if they can, they'll do it, unfortunately. And, look, kids are going to be kids. I certainly am not going to chastise a little 4-year-old the way that I would an adult, because that's different. But, I feel like it's a design challenge, but also I really hope that it doesn't mean that we get, some kind of plastic barrier, or, that they start to remove things, which I think is really what also happened in the Disney World queue. I mean, even, for this same ride, I think that used to be better also. So I don't know. It's such a hard thing, but I wish we could all be better. I don't understand why this is so difficult.
Yeah, Patrick, you got some thoughts?
It's really easy to blame kids because they're awful, but it's not kids who are walking into a theme park with a fully operational cinematography rig that are shushing guests. It's not
Oh,
kids that are unbuckling seatbelts and putting themselves in mortal danger getting on Cosmic Rewind.
Yeah.
This is not always kids. In the big thing, and man, I can't believe I'm going to say this, is if Disney actually repaired things quickly, we wouldn't run stories like this. We wouldn't have time to get a tip, hey, there's stuff broken in the queue, and it would be better if they did more frequent maintenance. This is because people don't treat things well. We don't treat each other well. And why would we treat inanimate objects well if we don't treat people that great? But, like, it's easy to blame a kid. My daughter's incredibly destructive. Thankfully she hasn't broke any things at the park yet. I've had relatives who have broken things at the park, so yeah, I get it. But like, let's make sure that we're giving the grown-ups their fair share of taking it to task.
oh no, I agree, and I mean, I think that actually Stephanie's kids, she's got them so militant that when they walk through, they just fix stuff.
Exactly.
They just
Glue
go
it
through
back
and they're just
down.
like, yeah, they're like, Mom, that looks like it's out of place, and she's like, what do we do? And then they just go fix it, and yeah, it's fine. So I'm sure that that's a thing that happens.
I do
I'm
pick
not.
up random pieces of trash and throw it away. I do
I still
that.
do too. I
Oh.
still do too. That's a cat, like
Yes.
ingrained in you as a cast member. I still do that
Yes.
too. Is just like that was a thing. It's like treat it nice. And we'll talk about
Right.
cast members obviously at the end of the show. We're going to have a big conversation about that. Let's move on to Toontown because on March 19th the rest of Toontown opens up, which again is very strange. And I guess it's the whole it wasn't ready yet, but the big day, the big launch on January 27th was happening for the Disney 100 years, and they're like, we got to have something. Well, Mickey's Runaway Railway is basically ready. Let's do that. So they opened up that in the rest of the park, and so we've been getting some kind of little glimpses and previews of the things that are happening, like this new fountain, which I think is freaking adorable. And that's going to be in Centennial Park. That's kind of a cool
It's
thing.
awful.
And then
That's so
Cafe
bad.
Daisy, the sign has gone up for Cafe Daisy.
So
I don't know if you guys,
cute.
I don't know if
So
you guys
freaking
had
cute.
dealt with or ever had to deal with the food court aspect that they had there, but it's like I love this idea that it's just like you go to one place to order everything. That's going to be kind of neat and different, and yeah, it's very cute, and the food looks kind of amazing. I feel like there's not a lot. They need more options at Disneyland, and I think this looks like a great assortment of options. But we need to talk about this.
Yes.
First of all, as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna need that freaking picnic basket. I mean, I showed it to my wife. She's like, it looks like Mickey's like severed hand. I'm like, I don't know. It's his
Yeah.
glove. I don't care. I want to put my hand in that and carry that basket
Oh,
around.
I think you
for
can. Oh my gosh.
an entire day at the park. I just want to be swinging that basket around on Space Mountain, everything like that. But what I picture about this, and the basic gist is, if for those of you who have not read this story, it's the perfect picnic basket because they're redoing Toontown as a park, and because the perfect picnic is the whole idea of the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and the short that we're going to see. It says choose 3 food items and 1 beverage. And then it says cuties, mandarin oranges, mini Baby Bell. Got to get that Baby Bell. Seedless grapes, applesauce, yogurt smoothie, blah blah blah.
So
$25.99.
California.
Yeah, right. $25.99. And but perfect picnic pack is that with the basket and the blanket. The basket and take 3. The basket and the blanket are $36.99, which sounds like a bargain. So I don't know how crummy that
That was my
blanket
thought.
is. What? The,
Does
yeah.
it?
What
Doesn't
was
sound
your
like a
price?
bargain.
No. That was my thought. Keep going. I'm sorry. I was agreeing with everything you're saying.
Okay, so but here's my next picture is I don't know how big this blanket is. I don't know that it says, but there's only a finite amount of space in Centennial Park, and if everybody gets one of these, like I would think you would, I mean, what the heck? What is Toontown going to look like with 900 picnic blankets spread out, and people like fighting for like a square inch to put down their perfect picnic? Stephanie.
I see this as being a spork. That's what I see it as being. You know, remember the metal sporks? And then,
Yeah.
like you said, we can't have nice things because people take a million of them and sell them on eBay. I see this as kind of the same kind of situation. I hope that it's not going to be. I hope that they have their mobile ordering in a better situation than they do at Disney World, and you can pick this thing up really easily and get your spot on the turf grass or whatever it is, but because it's a great idea. It's very cute. It ties right into Mickey and Minnie's, and as Desi would say, that's not my Mickey on the blanket pictured, but still, it's a cute idea.
We definitely are going to have a colliding of Mickey versions in this one land between
Yes.
the one on the fountain doesn't look like the one in the ride, doesn't look like the one that you meet in his house.
Correct.
Perfect. Love it. Before we move on, Patrick, thoughts? Other than the fact that if I get out there, I'll get you one too.
No, I do not need a picnic basket. And
You
blanket.
need
Thank
one.
You so much.
You need
What,
one.
do they have munchlings? Is there like a
Nobody
special?
cares about
A
munchlings.
basket
That's
full
so
of
weird.
munchlings.
Oh my God! Could you imagine if it was a basket full of mystery munchlings? That'd be great. Get rid of these pops. They're all going to a landfill anyway.
Unreal. Speaking of landfill,
No.
at what point, Patrick, at what point does Splash Mountain no longer become Splash Mountain and is almost Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Like, how much of it do you have
think
to
it
tear
is.
up for that to happen?
I think it already is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I think when it closed,
Yeah.
that was it for Splash. It is Tiana's Bayou Adventure now. I saw the pictures. It's hard to look at. I'm one of the people that is very much in favor of this change, but like it's still a classic attraction with classic animatronics. And I swear to everything Disney, if they just screen project things, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll be angry. You know, like
Yeah.
you have animatronics in there. Keep some of them, reskin some. Look at how great Hong Kong is doing with them. They're beautiful. Oh God, it's so scary because people are going to crap on this no matter what. No matter what, it could be the perfect attraction coming out. People are going to crap on it for various reasons. Some of them that I don't get into here, so I don't, lose my job. But some of them for very legitimate reasons that it is replacing a classic attraction, and we expect something to be a high caliber when that happens. And that's exactly what we were just talking about in the last segment, is when Runaway Railway took over for the Chinese theater. It replaced something that people had a lot of affinity, not so much in Disneyland. And it's a good attraction that is plagued by the fact that it is mostly screens. I mean, we get pictures every single day of Daisy's face or the background. I mean, really, this thing is running Windows? Come on.
Well, here's the question I have, and Stephanie, maybe you can answer it for me, is when I'm looking at these pictures, I feel like, why would you start here? Why would you start right here? And what are these guys looking for? Did maybe like one of these guys 20 years ago lost his like cell phone in this particular area, and they've been digging for it for a while? Like, we only have pictures of them tearing up this one section, which seems, well, other than the Briar Patch, but it seems so unimportant at this one area. But this is where they decided to start. What's up?
No, I completely agree. I don't know about the cell phone situation, but I will tell you, we did an after hours event, and so we were in the Magic Kingdom till 1 a.m. and we would go back to do the mine train and walk around to Big Thunder, and then they were welding at midnight at 1 a.m. I mean, they were inside, lights on the mountain, everything happening, welding inside. So I don't know what's broken, but they're trying to fix it. And then we rode the train, the Walt Disney World Railroad, and they've blocked out that window into the attraction. So I can't even tell you if the animatronics with the big paddle boat is still there. I'm not sure. I'm hoping that it is, it's a big reveal at the end for Mardi Gras or what have you. But they were full force making some changes.
Yeah, and Kamila, they're not almost there. I don't understand how long it's going to take to put this together, but they haven't even started. They haven't even shut it down in California. But then here, that looks like they're on some kind of a mission to get it done, right?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, if you really feel inclined that you need to still ride it, you can definitely still do that over in Disneyland. But I actually, to me, I've been surprised and dare I say impressed at the speed with which they've been working on this attraction and just the fact that they got started right away. I mean, it sounds like they are trying to maintain their deadline. And look, we love to talk about when it feels like not much progress is happening. Moana's Journey of Water, or whatever the name of that attraction is supposed to be. But I actually feel like it's kind of cool that it seems like we're seeing so much real progress, or at the very least, we're seeing so much change take place. And so hopefully, who knows how soon they can get this done.
Okay. All right. Well, we shall see. I hope, Patrick, to your point, that they plus it out. Like, we have our memories of what was there, and we know that near the end, a lot of the stuff was broken and not working and all that. It would be great if we could see some kind of an upgraded attraction that is, that is going to be special as well, and that's what may fix that for us. But like like you mentioned, like the Great Movie Ride versus the Mickey and Minnie Windows 10 thing is not great. So here's the thing that, like, basically everybody in my life reached out to me and was like, why isn't this you, man? This dude is way ahead of you. He's going every day to Disneyland, and he's been there. He's almost 3,000 days that he's gone consecutively. And I'm like, where's the asterisk here? Where's the Pete Rose asterisk that says, hey, 3,000 days consecutively when it was open is the asterisk, I believe. Because it says that he's been almost 3,000 consecutive days, but as we know, Disneyland was closed for a year. Patrick, thoughts? You're muted. Yeah.
That's because I was slurping on some water. I didn't want people to hear my slurps. If you are a California local or Orlando local, and you're just like popping in after work, I guess that counts as consecutive days at the park. I don't know. I'd like to see, like, these people that live on cruise ships. How many consecutive days have you been in a Disney hotel and gone rope drop to fireworks? Cool, man. Good for you. I mean, it's better than what a lot of other people are doing to try and get their Disney clout lately. So I guess I can't be too mad at that. Seems like a good dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty exciting. Kamila, thoughts?
I mean, he has to be getting some help from Disney, right? Like, no way otherwise. Like, to be able to get in every day, like, think about the days like before they had the annual passes back. Like, is he buying a ticket every day to do, like, there's got to be some kind of partnership here, right?
I mean,
like, I'm just thinking about the logistics of this, and I'm like, what? And because the story starts of, like, the reason he started doing this is because he got laid off back in 2012, and so he somehow was gifted these annual passes. It sounded like that was from family, and then he started going and every day, and he would talk about how, like, it was a great networking opportunity. It was a great way to see friends, get steps in, all of that. But, like, yeah, I just, I think it's a cool story. I remember reading about this guy even before everything shut down in the parks. But, like, in my head, logistically, I'm just like, how is he, like, is he paying for tickets every day? Is he, like, what, like, I don't know. There's just, I have questions, I guess. I have questions, but
yeah.
It's cool. It's cool.
Okay. Well, we've lost Stephanie temporarily. She's run away to kind of think over this whole world record thing. She actually
went to start. She's like, I gotta.
It's not sitting well with her. We have a couple other things I want to talk about, but we're running out of time. So I want to say, like, the Mandalorian thing. Mando has shown up at Disney Hollywood Studios. It was to promote Mandalorian season 3. That's great, but at the same time, like, it breaks the Star Cruiser story, which is something they told us they wouldn't put him in because of where he falls in the land. Honestly, the way people fawned over him like it was Rockstar, then they were like, maybe people like this will bring it back. And
no,
yeah, it's crazy.
No, the most popular show in the world with, like, the biggest star on the planet right now. You don't want to capitalize on that because you're worried about breaking the continuity.
Yeah.
Really?
Here's where you worry about continuity, folks. This is
Yeah.
where you worry about it.
Yeah.
This, and also not bringing Dr. Facilier back into this attraction for Tiana. Sure. Okay.
Facts.
Why do you have to make me so mad? They better bring Dr. Facilier back. I just watched Descendants.
They better.
And I was so excited to see Dr. Facilier. I'm like, oh, I love that guy. He's really spooky. Put the Mando in the parks. This should be a space that exists outside of space and time in the Star Wars universe. It should be like a blip on a map far away that everyone can kind of come and go, and they can be whatever age you want them to be. It's so dumb. You can go to Star Tours and go to like 6 different places. It's in the same freaking park.
So you'd be okay with Darth Vader walking in and running into Kylo Ren and saying, "Kylo, I'm your grandfather"?
Yes.
I would be okay with meeting Kylo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Kylo
I mean,
and
again,
Darth?
it's Kylo and Darth together for photo op. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Family Father's Day photo op. You can get him, Luke in there. Han. We can just have like a whole family tree. It'll be great.
How many fathers are there?
I don't know.
All right, so here's another thing that happened that everybody was convinced. Like every time I've passed by the Hyperion Theater in California Adventure, I'd look at it and go, "That's a what are we doing, folks? This is a waste of a venue space. Like either knock it down and build an attraction, put a gift shop in here, do something with this space because you need people eaters in the parks, and you've got this huge theater and it's not doing anything. And you had a scripted show for Aladdin and you had one for Frozen. Bring back either of those. And then there was a rumor that hey, maybe they're going to bring in Hercules. And then they were like, Disney was like, here's what we're doing, and they showed this teaser out of left field, I feel like, where it's, it's this great teaser with Agent Carter walking up, or an Agent Carter-like person, and over her shoulder you see the playbill for Rogers the musical. And honestly, I love Hercules, but give me this immediately, and I'm so totally stoked. But I see from Kamila's look, maybe she doesn't agree. No?
So I was team Hercules only because I know the story of Hercules. I have no idea what Rogers is. And I feel bad acknowledging that, but it was fun because so many people I knew were so excited about this, but I was just like, literally what?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I will.
I'm
sorry. I don't mean to judge. So on Disney has this thing called the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Perhaps you've heard of it. And in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they do some TV shows on something they call Disney Plus. And on Disney Plus, they did a show called Hawkeye. And in the first episode of Hawkeye and his family are going to New York, and they're there to see a play called Rogers the Musical. And it's this whole thing based on Steve Rogers. And it's basically a retelling of the Battle for New York. And there's a guy dressed up like Hulk. And it's a super campy
Adam Pascal of Rent. Like, come on.
Campy, awful,
I do know Adam.
Like telling of the Avengers story. So, it was supposed to be super cringy to the point where Hawkeye's just like, what am I doing here? Why am I watching this horrible thing? Yeah. He turned off his hearing aids. He's like, I don't want any of this. And the fact that then at D23 this last year, I didn't get to see it, but they did sort of a restaging of one of the scenes from Rogers the Musical, and the place went nuts. And so this seems so great, having it adjacent to Avengers Campus, to take the Hyperion Theater and blend these lands together perfectly with, like, you've got this Hollywood backlot meets this, otherworldly campus. Why not focus on the next door neighbor and do something campy like Rogers the Musical? I would wait 3 or 4 hours for this. I mean, I'm excited about that. I don't know, Patrick, is this the kind of thing you'd go see?
I would fly to California, like, just to see this.
Yeah.
I would risk
but
going
can I just say, I want us to acknowledge then, because I'm excited that you guys are excited. And to be honest, I don't care. I'm just glad to see something there again. And I'll go see it. I won't know what it is. Yeah. But I think this is a good example of Disney doing something for the fans, because to know what this is and what it references, you have to have watched Hawkeye, right? That's what I said. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which means you have Disney Plus. And the D23 reference. I mean, I'm just saying, let's just take a moment to acknowledge,
synergy.
what they did there.
Synergy at its finest.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I think the fact that it is an Avengers story speaks to more people than that. You may not get the reference of what it means that through Hawkeye and all that, but if you understand, if you go in and see it, I think that it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if some people go into it wrong, like with the wrong attitude and go, I don't know what this is. Let me go see it, and then they walk out and go, what did I just watch? What was the purpose of that? So I hope that there's a way that they can kind of explain to people as they come in what it is they're going to see, so they'll do it. But I think there are enough fanboys that will go and see it time and time again. Yeah. But I have a suggestion for Disney. Their PhilharMagic, and don't get me wrong about this, Disneyland fans, is awful. Their PhilharMagic is terrible. And it used to be Muppet Vision. I wish it still was. It's not. It was Frozen Sing Along. I wish it still was. It's not. It's PhilharMagic, and it's just a bad version of it. And I think there was a stage show that they used to do. I don't know if they still do, on one of the Disney cruise ships of Hercules. It was a very tongue-in-cheek Hercules retelling. Put that in that theater. Like, that would be great. Like,
No.
give us that and take out PhilharMagic because it doesn't fit there.
No, you stay at Disney World. Don't take our PhilharMagic.
Have you seen the real one? Have you seen the good one?
Yes, I have seen both, and I want that there.
Okay. I mean, again, I like it better than nothing, but I still think that they could do something original there rather than basically what is the equivalent of PhilharMagic Jr.
I would take Muppets anything over I don't want the Frozen sing along. You can keep that in Florida.
Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't say put that back. I said I think that they need to replace it with something else. And I agree with you. It'd be nice if you go in to do Muppets, but you go into that theater and you look around and you see like a little bit of the Arendelle left over and a little bit of the Muppets left over. And they need to do a total like overhaul of that and do something that is worthy of that space and not just like something that they had on VHS that they popped in over there. It just isn't. It's not as. It needs to be better. That's all I'm saying. So the hotel happenings, I wanted to. The Magic Happened. We were just going to say Magic Happens came back, and that's great. It was delayed a little bit because of weather, which was interesting, but it's back, and I can't wait to see that. The hotel happenings. There's a lot of hotel stuff going on, including the fact that the Poly. I guess the Poly thing's actually happening because they've started to go vertical with elevator shafts, so we can't back out now. It's happening. The Clarion Lake Buena Vista is happening. So, get excited about that. But also, we saw some previews of the Disneyland tower rooms for DVC, and then there's still some stuff going on around the Grand Floridian. But the big takeaway, I think, this week was that, or last week, is that we heard that they were going to move forward with the EPCOT entrance hotel, which I think is exciting. Patrick, are you excited about this?
I'm incredibly excited about this. This was one of the first stories that I remember dropping my jaw when we broke it a million years ago. It feels like. I really don't know how long ago it was. But to get that DCA experience where you can walk out from a hotel into the park is such a great experience, and I really think it's missing from Walt Disney World. I would love to stay at this hotel because I imagine they'll have DVC rooms if it's not just a DVC hotel, and just be able to walk into Epcot. Sure, you can do it from Yacht and Beach and Boardwalk and all that, but like just have that magic at your door. And especially being the big Figment fan I am, it looks like it possibly could dump right in front of Imagination. I can't imagine starting my day with a nice cup of cold brew and then going to see Figment immediately. It would be incredible. I think there is no negatives about this at this time. I think even with ridiculous prices, attendance is still very high. More hotel rooms can only help.
Yep. So I want to move on to the last couple, and I'm sorry for flying through these, but again, we kind of were going over, but there was a lot to catch up on. Is the Rock and Roller Coaster? There was a rumor Ken Marino, the comedian who was the board op, was apparently spreading the rumor that the Queen was going to be the new overlay for Rock and Roller Coaster. There is no way in this world that anyone would tell Ken Marino this information and for him to be the exclusive holder of this information. But and he was like, "No, I've never ridden it before, but it's going to be a new Queen thing." And the funny thing is, like, Queen was one of the original concepts. Like Hollywood Records, when they first formed, to be able to have a catalog, bought the music and the rights to Queen. So then Queen was like, no thanks. So so Aerosmith was the one that did it. They said, "Yep, if you throw in Nine Lives as one of the songs," which is the one I got last time I was on there. Oh well, it always needs to be Love in an Elevator. That's the one that you want on there. So, I wrote it for the last time because I had heard rumors that they might do an overlay of the Incredicoaster in there because they had the tools to do it, or they may do something else. But when you stop and think about that courtyard and that building and that huge guitar and the upside down, car that's there, like it would have to be some. I feel like that Steven Tyler would have to murder somebody for them to actually close that thing down.
I mean, do we think that's like outside of the realm of possibility that ever comes up? Like, I don't think it is. No. Yeah. I mean,
what are you saying, and how can we get sued because of it?
Allegedly. There, I'm good. Ron tells me I just say allegedly after everything, and I'm fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Queen is not less problematic than Aerosmith. Make it something fictitious. It's a 60s, 70s, 80s band. Yeah, they had great songs in the 90s. Like, we don't need Aerosmith there. We don't need Queen there. Just give me a freaking power line attraction already. I want eye to eye.
That's the answer.
We want that.
That is the answer.
We want that. That's it.
Why are we even talking about this? Call Bob. Call
Josh.
Get it done.
Call Josh.
Get it done.
Call Josh.
Do it.
Josh.
Do it now.
Josh. Yeah, make that
If
happen.
I ever walk in the park and he knows my name, they will need to pick me up off the pavement for the next hour.
Okay, fair enough. So anyway, that's kind of ridiculous, but I did ride it one more time just in case. So we'll see what happens when it opens back up. I just hope that they, I don't know. I'm just bring back that attraction, because when you have an attraction down, that means there's one last thing for people to do. It means the crowd's that much bigger in the parks. Let's get that open. Tron, speaking of things that are opening, is finally happening in a month. The day for that one for park passes opens up every now and then. So if y'all are out there looking, maybe keep stalking that the Magic Kingdom is open that day. But because of the weird way the reservation system works, after 1 o'clock or after 2 o'clock, you can go in anyway. But again, keep looking if you're trying to get in for that one. But even if you could get in, you're going to have to get that virtual queue that morning. That's going to be the battle of the century, because as hard as it was to get pass holder and DVC and all those other tickets, it seems like it's going to be a freaking nightmare to get a virtual queue that day. I mean, I don't know if you've already packed your bags, Stephanie, and you're taking the whole family, and you guys are going to do the Lightning Lane. I feel like with your family and what the Lightning Lane's going to cost, that'd probably cost you $1,000 easy that day. I don't know.
Oh, probably, at least, yeah. No, when we were there, they're doing cast member previews right now, and so when we were there, we were trying to, get sweet talk our way onto it, kind of thing, and it didn't work. It didn't work out, but it looks really cool. I'm probably not going to be back for a while, so this thing will be open, for many months before we get a chance to go. But I think it's going to be, like you said, every day, virtual queue sold out within minutes, just like Rise was. So I'm not holding my breath, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of little changes happen throughout. They open up a new sign. We have photos of that on the website. They've got a popcorn stand that we are very closely watching every time they do something with it. The bathrooms, the lockers, all of those things, any of that information you need, wdwnt.com. But I've talked to a friend of mine who's a cast member who they opened it up for cast member previews. They were able to ride it. He said his back was a little sore after he rode it the first time, and yet he signed up for a second round and then rode it 4 times on the second round. So, I mean, apparently it is well worth riding, but I have not gotten to ride it. I can't wait to ride it. It's been, but even more than that, I can't wait for the merch. And yet, it looks like that the Tomorrowland Power and Light doesn't open until May 1st, so almost a month after the attraction, which is exactly the same as what's happening at Disneyland. Like, they haven't opened up the gift shop for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. We were standing outside ready to rope drop the gift shop the day that it opened, and when we walked in, there were just curtains all the way through, because you exit through the gift shop, there's just curtains and you can't see the walls. You can only see the floor right where you're walking through, but you can't see any of the merchandise, any of that stuff. And it's just like, what are we doing? Like, why, Kamila, would we open up? Like, don't you think we should wait for the merch before we open up an attraction? That seems like a vital piece of this. I'm just kidding, but why is this happening?
Well, no, but that's a fair point, because like, shouldn't that be the easiest thing, you know? Like, you struggled to build the ride, but you built it. So like, isn't the merch just in a store? You know, like, just open it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It is interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, Tron opens April 4th. Happily Ever After comes back April 3rd. There's a lot of little things happening. We didn't talk about Roundup Barbecue is actually open for reservations, so that's going to be something big. All these hotels that are in flux are being planned. There's a lot of stuff going on. Toontown opening up March 19th. The blog will be there to cover that as well. So lots of cool things happening. Hopefully we got you fairly caught up in parks news, but now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about why we think cast members are the magic. So please don't go away. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit like, and we will see you in a second.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside as he and a panel of Disney superfans take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog. They'll tell you its history, details, and give their review, so you'll know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube on WDWNT TV.
This program is brought to you by WIGS, the WDWNT Inner Globe Society. Support WDWNT to get early and exclusive access to content you can't find anywhere else, including exclusive post shows for WDW News Tonight and ParksCenter, access to our prize wall, a monthly Zoom with Tom, access to our Discord community, early access to our events, and much more, starting at just $2 per month. For more information, visit patreon.com/WDWNT or visit WDWNT.com and click the Patreon link. Join WIGS and unlock even more WDWNT.
Thank you guys so much for being here and watching ParksCenter this Sunday night. We appreciate you. If you have not already, please give us a thumbs up, as it helps people to find us. We talked briefly in that commercial break about Deep in the Plus, a show that is near and dear to my heart. Patrick has been on there as well. Patrick is on for a bunch of these. So just a reminder that a couple weeks ago we did The Greatest Showman. Last week we did George of the Jungle. This week we're going to be doing Treasure Planet, and then the week after, March 15th, Patrick will be here to discuss The Happiest Millionaire and his thoughts on Fred McMurray, which he has already shared a few with me, so I can't wait to hear more about what he thinks. Don't say anything now. Let's keep it a secret, but you want to say something, don't you?
We did get a super chat. I just wanted to shout out Jungle Cruiser. I don't see the message anymore, but I really just want to say thank you. We appreciate the super chat.
Wait, okay, hold on a second. I think I screwed up here. Let me see.
That definitely seemed bad. Yes.
Yeah, look at that.
Still bad.
Yeah, no, I thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem.
Yeah. So, Jake and I worked long and hard to make sure that button worked. So clearly it does not. However, here, the Jungle Cruiser, thank you so much for the super chat, $4.99. His record ended when COVID hit. I guess we were talking about the guy who had the world record for visits to the park. So Jungle Cruiser, thank you for the super chat. Sorry we missed it. we were just really wrapped up in ourselves, and we need to stop doing that. So thank you for calling that out, Patrick. I appreciate you. But you have not watched The Happiest Millionaire yet? You have watched it? You have not watched it. I hear it's 3 hours, so get ready.
Great.
Yeah,
I will watch that in 3 days. 1 hour
Okay.
before, after bedtime, every day.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I
fantastic.
don't forget the hour before.
All right. So why we wanted to talk about cast members and cast members being the magic is that there's been a lot of talk about the cast member wages, the union, them wanting more money. What seems like not an incredibly huge cost of living raise. And if you want the whole rigmarole about that, go to our website, go to our YouTube channel and watch Tom's rant about that. I don't think any of us on panel or who have worked with cast members in the past have any problem with them getting more money. I don't think any of us would be against anybody getting more money. I mean, if you work hard and you're out there getting done what you need to get done, you should get paid for it. And I know that I was a cast member, Stephanie was a cast member, and when I was a cast member, it was I had a second job. I worked at AMC Theater Pleasure Island, and I worked at the Land Boat Ride and Journey into Imagination at the same time, just to make sure to get some more hours to be able to, pay the rent. And I had a roommate, and the two of us had a place off of Kirkland, and it was, we didn't make a ton. But my thing is that I enjoyed being a cast member so much, to be able to talk to the people in the parks, to make fun jokes with little kids, to be able to entertain and to bring them those special moments. And so, I think that's why most of the cast members do it, but we shouldn't take advantage of that. We shouldn't take advantage of the fact that they want to be there and that they want to do it. We should, continue to reward them for that. So what I asked the panel to do tonight is kind of give a little bit of a, maybe an interaction you had with a cast member, something that was a big deal for you, that, where a cast member made that magic, made the difference. Because we say it all the time. We say cast members are the magic. We have T-shirts that we made during the furloughs for the cast pantry, and we, gave money for that. But what does that mean to you, Patrick, when we say cast members are the magic? What is the story that you have?
So I got a couple stories that I can tell pretty quickly. One is a story that my family retells all the time. We were staying at the Grand Floridian because that's my home resort, and we were having all sorts of problems with our magic bands. Tons and tons of problems. Like, we couldn't get in the room after a long day at the park. It's a long walk between the DVC wing and the front desk, especially after a long park day. And we went, and the cast members, for the most part, kind of poo-pooed us here and there. But then this one person, and her name was Mickey, and she worked her tail, pun intended, off to make sure that our magic bands were working. And we got in the room once, we left the room and came back, and they didn't work again. And my cousin Andrea said, I called the front desk. She's like, I really need to talk to Mickey, the person, not the mouse. And it's literally something we will quote at every family gathering. I actually took a selfie with us and Mickey. She was absolutely wonderful. She was so patient. And her and whoever else, did make a little magic for us to make up for lost time. I thought that was awesome. And then I have an R-rated story about making a memory for me, which is really incredible. It's one of my favorite memories in the history of my time in the Disney parks. The Magic Kingdom used to be open super late. Like really late for extra magic hours. And if you got there and you had a boat with mostly adults on the Jungle Cruise, a skipper may ask you if you would like the adult version of the Jungle Cruise. Now, I don't remember this skipper's name, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. The adult version of the Jungle Cruise with my then girlfriend, now wife, and two of my friends from college who we just happened to run into in the Disney parks is something that I'll keep with me forever. And as great as the spaces are in the parks, as iconic as the attractions are, as wonderful as everything is there, it's nothing if it's run by people who don't fully buy in. And that's the problem with the pay, is Rob said it. People want to be a cast member. I want to be a cast member. My retirement plan is to go be a Jungle Cruise skipper. That is 100% what I want to do when I retire. I will love every day of retirement, even if I'm working. And just because you want to do something and that something is bring joy to people, you shouldn't have to not do well. I work in a field that does not pay people very well. I'm very lucky that I worked my way up to an administrator, but I understand my employees don't make a ton. And it's not okay that you can't do something that's good and do something that's of value and do well in life. So I want all these cast members who are the magic, who are the true believers, to keep making magic for people. And I also don't want to have to donate to Cast Member Pantry.
All very good points. Yeah. You know what? And honestly, again, it's incredible. I don't know many other industries where you say to yourself that one employee made that much of a difference in the experience that I had at that thing. You know, it happens sometimes. I'm not saying it doesn't, but you know, this is the place where you feel like the magic is made. I was, you know, this is not my story really. It was me watching somebody else's, but I saw as I was standing, waiting for, you know, I was waiting for my wife in the restroom. I was standing in the back of the park, at Hollywood Studios, and Frozone is walking back. You know, he's been doing his meet and greet. He's walking backstage, and he stops and he sees a little kid that he had seen before. And he stops and he waves at him. Like, he just stops right in front of him and waves at him. And he's like, you know, you and like me and like this kind of a thing back and forth. Didn't have to do that. That was amazing. That's magic. That makes magic for that kid. There was a Jack Sparrow at Disneyland was walking up the stairs. He was leaving. He was being led off. And this little girl came up with a book, and he stopped and he turned around and he signed the book. And he was like on the other side of the rope. And he signed the book, and a line started, and he moved the rope behind him and stood down there and just started signing autographs and taking pictures. And I'm like, wow. Like, literally, I'm like almost like tearing up thinking about like the extra links that, you know, that some of the cast members go to. And it's not always, you know, the characters. There is a lot of that magic that happens all the time, whether it's you come back to your room and there's a towel shaped Mickey on the bed, or there's, you know, there was one time where my daughter had her bunny that left in the room, and when we came back, the bunny was like tucked into bed. And I was like, oh man, that's yeah, that gets you, doesn't it? Kamila, you must have at least a story or two.
Yeah, no, I have so many amazing interactions with cast members. I actually feel like one of the things that keeps me going to Disney is just what phenomenal service I feel like I get throughout the resorts, the parks. One of the more recent stories that I have is actually I took my sister and I took my parents back to Disney World. And for them, they hadn't been back maybe for at least a decade, if not probably more. And this was last December. And we took, during the time that we were there, it was going to be my mom's birthday. And so while we were at the parks that day, of course, I had her go get her birthday pin. And she thought it was so fun how everyone was saying happy birthday. Because at first she was like, I don't need that. That's so dumb. And I was like, no, trust me, you have to get it. And so she had her little birthday pin. Well, we were on the bus headed back to our resort. And, you know, we're driving along, we're getting close to our stop. And then all of a sudden, we did a stop, and then we went a little bit, and then the bus driver stops. And, you know, we'd been at the resort long enough to know, like, this wasn't a normal stop. And he had said something over the overhead. He's like, everyone, we need to stop. Mickey has asked us to stop for just a moment. And so we pull over, and we're all kind of like, what's happening? And the bus is maybe half full. And then he kind of like comes back, and he's like, I noticed that it's someone's birthday on the bus. And so he like points to my mom, and she kind of like, you know, yes, it's my birthday. And he has everyone on the bus sing to her. And it was just like so fun. And, you know, my mom was one of those people who were like, those are the kinds of things that like, you know, leave such a lasting impression. But I will say there's got to be something about birthdays, because the last time that I went to Disney World for my birthday, I got upgraded to the presidential suite at the resort I was staying at for the entire week that I was there. And there were two of us. Like, it was amazing.
The Waldorf Astoria doesn't do that.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Stop it. Patrick, you're getting,
I need to stay there.
You're getting nowhere. You're getting nowhere with that. That's awesome. And Stephanie?
I have too many to say. Okay, so the bus drivers, I have a couple of stories about them really quickly. One time we were, it caught literally in a storm at Blizzard Beach. And so, of course, the park shut down. There was no swimming. We're outside in our swimsuits, freezing cold, the wind and everything, the rain was coming. And there was a bus driver who had, I think she was supposed to be going to Disney Springs, and there was nobody waiting for that. And we were basically the last people there. She said, "You guys, where do you want to go?" And we said, "We have Mama
Oh,
Melrose reservation at Hollywood Studios." She turned her lights, switched it over there, and drove us directly. That was amazing.
Wow.
The same thing kind of happened. Um, we were at Hoop De Doo, Patrick, this past trip and this past week, and one of my kids got sick. I think I have so many kids and so many times going. We have a story about a kid getting sick,
Yeah.
pretty much every year. So anyway, so one of my kids gets sick, and I'm walking. My husband took the boat back to the Magic Kingdom, and I'm walking her. There's that internal bus system at Fort Wilderness, and we walked up, and I guess one of his supervisors was there that the driver was standing talking with, and I explained the situation. There was literally nobody on the bus, and the supervisor said, "Turn your lights off and take her directly to the front." And so he did, and I learned through that, Rob, that he was actually a professor of anatomy and physiology. And so, yes, and so he does this as a second, right? He
Not
does this
magic.
as a secondary job. So you're absolutely right. I think when I worked there, I was hourly. I was actually seasonal, so I was not union. I was not, full time by any means, and because I was in school, and I think I was paid somewhere between 7 to 9. Minimum wage situation, and that's kind of where they're at now. If you adjust for inflation, I think they're saying, what did they say, 15, but Universal's paying 17. So I feel like if you're going to be competitive, you got to at least match Universal when it comes to hourly wages. So, I mean, I have a lot of those stories. One last quick thing about the extra magic. As you know, I am a very good friend of Mary Poppins back in the day, and Mary Poppins used to be a fill-in, if you will, at Cinderella's royal table if one of the princesses, say Snow White, had to help Sneezy, but because he was having difficulty, and so she wasn't able to be there, and so Mary Poppins would be. I met a young boy, and he was there, young prince, and I remember because he had a broken arm, and I asked him, where are you going today? What rides are you going to do? And he told me he was going to do roller coasters, and I, had a whole conversation about that and the broken arm. Signed his cast and everything too. Later on, Mary Poppins also does sets in EPCOT at the United Kingdom. So over there, he happened to be in line again for whatever reason to see Mary Poppins. And so Mary Poppins walked right up to him and said, "Dylan, how are you? And how was that ride on that roller coaster?" And my mother was actually there with me, and she was, in the store, and she heard the mom as she walked away say, "That was the real Mary Poppins. She remembered your name. She remembered exactly where you went. And can you believe that?" And that kind of thing. So it's about making magic for the fans, for the kids, for everyone involved. So that's what brings the joy to us as cast members, but also to people going to Disney.
And there's a lot of neat things about being cast members. There's the cast member previews like they've been doing for Tron. There's the cast member store. There's they have a cast member bank. There's a lot of little things for cast members. The canteens backstage. But that's really, I mean, that's wonderful, but that's not enough. And like I look at some of the offers and things, like I see that the cast members, it says select cast members will be given a special preview of Happily Ever After. If that's as special as me as a select DVC person missing every Moonlight Magic because they're already sold out, I'm not sure how great that is. But again, it's sort of a nice thing. But what I remember when I was working there was that there were people there who were children of people who used to work there. So basically what would happen is that people would meet at Disney World, fall in love, get married, have a kid, and that kid would then grow up and then work at Disney because that's where mom and dad were. We're probably looking at grandkids right now at this point, with the park being open 50 years at Disney World, of people who met, and even longer at Disneyland, who met there, their kids worked there. Patrick and I talked to Joaquin Garay III, and for Herbie on Deep in the Plus, and his dad was the voice of Panchito in the original Three Caballeros. He was Paco in the Herbie Goes Bananas movie, and his daughter is on is not only is I don't know if it's the same daughter, but I think he has two daughters. One of them is a friend of Donald, and then the other one is on Disney Plus, and it's just like
Diaries of a Future President. Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly. And so there's a neat thing about Disney that makes you feel special when you're part of it, that you want to share the magic with everyone else, and it's just it's infectious and it's awesome. But at the same time, they need to be paid properly for it. I want to share one last story. That this is a picture. I don't know if you can see it. This is my daughter when she was a couple months old with Donald sitting on the floor. This was during a hurricane. We were there during a hurricane, and then they shut down the parks. They shut down the everything. It was like stay
lowered the castle into the ground.
Like you do, yes, exactly. You've been reading about that too, huh? Mousetrap News, yeah, can't get enough of that. Don't anyway. But they when everything had blown over, they opened up. We were staying at Saratoga Springs. They opened up the Artist Palette. We went over there, and they kind of like said, "Hey, come over. We've got food. We've got games. We've got all kinds of stuff." And the characters were there. And my little daughter, and Donald sits down on the ground and reaches out, and she comes over, and this picture will live with me forever of my daughter being there with Donald. And it was like, what hurricane? We don't even care. We don't even care that we missed a day. We don't even care about any of that kind of stuff, because I have this this memory for the rest of my life. So I hope that they get what they deserve. I hope that happens. And
well,
follow
it's
along
a
to
special company.
DWNT.
It's a special company when you have people working there since the very beginning and they're still there. This past trip, I was able to meet two of those people, believe it or not. One of them is a helper with the characters, and I saw him at Cinderella's Royal Table as well. And then the other one was actually working at the Contemporary Mercantile, and that's where we were staying, was Contemporary Bay Lake Tower. And I walked in, and I remembered seeing her picture on that big picture of the 12, or I guess it was 22 people that had worked at Disney World for the full 50 years. And she was trying to ring me up, and she was making some, comment about the newfangled stuff that they want you to do with the passes and discounts and that kind of thing. She's like, I've been here for 52 years. So it was really neat to get to meet her and see that people love it. People love working there. People, like you said, generationally love it. And it's a neat company to be able to say that you have employees that loyal.
Yep, agree.
And that's when we go back as Disney adults, like before I had a kid, and be like, why do you keep going there when you could be going to the lovely, luxurious Waldorf Astoria? And I'm like, it's really the cast members that make the difference. It's the cast members making that magic that separates it from a hotel like the Waldorf Astoria and really drives home repeat visits.
5 times. Is that what?
Wow.
Yeah,
Make
maybe.
it 7.
Yeah.
7. Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't even. You're fishing in the wrong pond, my friend. I got to tell you, this is not.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to
Patrick at
happen.
WDWNT.com.
That's great.
Well, okay. So, I thank you guys for telling your stories here. I do want to wrap up with each of you just kind of giving a final thought on what we talked about here tonight. But I do want to say thank you again to everyone who tuned in tonight. Don't forget to check carouselproducts.com, because it's Figment's birthday. 40 Years of Sparks T-shirt, is there now. It's a limited edition. We're gonna have some pins coming in as well with that same design on it. They just didn't make it in time, so we'll put those on at a later date. But please. If you want to support the boy, go on and I mean, this, I gotta be fair. This money doesn't go directly to Figment, if that's what you thought. But anyway,
Wait a minute.
but again, and also thank you to our Weeks
Does
members.
Figment
We love
need
our Weeks
money?
members. No, he's
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
He's solid.
He's stuck presently.
Yeah,
He does.
For a new
He's
sweater, a
WD-40.
new sweater.
Right, exactly.
Sweater budget.
Let's talk about Wigs, though. We love our Wigs members, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. If you guys want to learn more about how to become part of our family, go to patreon.com/WDWNT for more information, including a post show that will happen after this. again, can't thank you guys enough for being, for wondering what was happening with ParksCenter. It was not on purpose, but we had a little bit of a lag because of holidays and Super Bowls and things like that. So we will be back, and at the very end of this month, there will be March Madness on WDWNT for News Tonight, and Patrick will be here. And I will be here, and we'll get a couple other people on here. It may or may not be Stephanie and Kamila.
Wow.
I don't know. What?
Wow.
You want on?
Kamila, it has to be
Rude.
Kamila.
That was
It's
rude.
the top 64 boats.
Do you see that,
I called
Stephanie?
them-
You know
I
what?
called the best
We're busy.
bathroom. Like,
We're
come
busy
on.
anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
We're busy anyway. I don't need you.
So it'll be all four of them. All four of us. They've promised at this point. They've sworn
Kamila's
that they
on
will
Disney
be here.
Food Blog tomorrow. She's gone.
They will be here.
Oh no!
They will be here the whole time.
Astoria.
No one's going to be there. No one's going to be there. But
We're gonna get
you know
there.
what? I mean, the whole boat thing started with March Madness, so we got to have you back this year. They're talking about the best foods, so we got to set them straight here from ParksCenter. So please, you can watch it there and come here, and we'll tell you what really happened. So that'll be the last couple of weeks of the month. So please make sure to join us for that. But now I want to make sure before we go away, I want to get final thoughts on our topic of the night. And I'll start with you, Kamila, and we'll go back around.
I mean, I will say the cast member conversation, I think, is a pretty serious one. And I echo everything that everyone here has said. We just want to make sure that they have what they need to live much more comfortably. I mean, you hear some real horror stories about people sleeping in their car, people just not having access to the basics, and making magic during the day, and then it's a dangerous situation at night. And so I think Disney can do better, and I think they need to do better. And then the only other thing I will say is I'm still thinking about that picnic situation in Toontown. Like, I just think that sounds wonderful, and I'm so curious to see how that's going to happen, but I need to do that immediately. I might be stealing Stephanie's kids to go do that.
Love
You
that.
can take them.
Yeah.
No, I echo all the sentiments that everyone said tonight. Cast members really are the magic, and Disney needs to remember that. I know that working there, I did at times, a lot of times, feel like just another cog in the great machine, and I was a number and this kind of thing. They don't really, upper management doesn't know you, it's your lower management that knows you. So, I can understand how they feel, but they need to show the people who are actually out in the parks some love. And I really like it when Josh D'Amaro walks around. I was looking for him, Patrick. When I was there. Never got to see him, but I was looking for him for sure. They need to get out more.
So if you've watched ParksCenter for any point in time, I think it's pretty clear where I stand on all this. I have friends who are cast members. I actually have family who just started the college program, which is nothing short of indentured servitude. Disney needs to do better. And Universal starting at 17, that's a great starting place. I wish to see it go up from there. I want to see these cast members and these team members be able to live in the area and be able to vacation there if they want to, too. I mean, how many hours would you need to work to afford a one-day non-hopper ticket? It'd be ridiculous. Cast members are the reason we keep coming back, and I don't go to the Waldorf Astoria. I mean, I can't even imagine myself going there. Even if they gave me free rooms, I don't think I would go to the Waldorf Astoria because they don't have the cast members that Walt Disney World has. And Josh D'Amaro, you're very handsome, but you need to be out there on the front lines fighting for your people.
Yes.
And handsome only takes you so far.
Yeah.
Well
Well said.
here's the thing. We've been demonetized because you mentioned the Waldorf Astoria too much. So you owe me some
we
money,
actually
man.
have running some paid advertisement for them.
Yeah,
now.
you owe me some money, my friend. Sorry
Oh
about that.
man.
Yeah. So we had a quote on this shirt that I'm wearing here that we did to raise money for the cast members. And I can read it. It says, "You can build and design and create and build You can design and create and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make the dream a reality. And that's the fact, right? That's the fact, is that the difference is the people. It's the people who walk around and on their way to break pick up trash, or that they stop and they will take that extra second with a guest, or that they will, give up their time to do something else. I mean, it's amazing to me the amount of dedication, and it's because of the love they have for the company. It's the love we have for the company that keeps us talking about the company and wanting the company to do better. It's the cast members who work there who make the magic every day. And I just hope that everything gets settled and that they get what they deserve, because it should be more. They should be paid more because they bring a better experience. That's it. So again, thank you guys for watching tonight. We appreciate you. Please tune in every Sunday night to ParksCenter, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and we have a post show right after this. But thank you on the panel here. You guys are the magic that makes ParksCenter.
Aww. Aww. We love
So
you.
But especially Stephanie and I. No, just kidding.
That's right, Kamila.
My favorite episode ever was the one where Patrick and I were dressed alike and you two were dressed alike.
Yes! That was great.
So good. That was so good. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And if you're not seeing you right after this for the post show, we hope you have a great week, and we will see you next time.
Dun.